Welcome to the IC Challenge. You can access the platform by going to icchallenge.org. To begin with, click Create Account. To register as a teacher, click Teacher. Fill in the information. You will also need a challenge join code. You can find that on the website at www.inspiredclassroom.com, upcoming events. Once you have created an account, it will take you to the teacher dashboard. The next thing you'll want to do is create a class. Click Create a Class. A class is defined as a group of students. If you are an elementary school teacher and have one group of students, you will want to create one class. If you are a middle school or high school teacher and you have multiple classes, you may want to name your class Period 1 and then the name of the challenge. Add the start date, which will be today, and an end date when you think you might be done with the challenge in your classroom. Enter the number of students and the number of teams. We recommend 3 to 5 students on a team. If you plan on using an IC challenge as a whole class activity, input one team. Then go down below and select the challenge. Click Submit. You'll now see that class appears on your dashboard. It has a code below it. This is the code that you will give to students if students are registering for this class independently. Click on this icon. Welcome to your class dashboard. Your class dashboard will have the name of your class. It'll have the class code, which again is the code you give to students, the number of teams, and the number of students. You can always go back and edit your classroom if you decide you need more teams or if a student joins your class. Below, you will see the teams. Team 1, if you click this Edit button, you can change the name. And then there's also the View Progress. Once students are assigned to a team and are working through the challenge and inputting answers, you can view that team's progress. There is also a progress bar, so you can see how each team is doing with just a quick glance. Below, you will see your team management. This is where you assign students to a team. As you can see, we have no students right now. There are 2 ways to add students. The first is to manually add your students. Let's add one to try that out. Enter the student's name, their email, and assign them a password. You can use a generic password. Once you have added the student, click Submit. You will now see that student shows up under Team Management. You will now need to assign them to a team. Students will not be able to work on the platform until they have been assigned a team. I will assign our test student to Team 1. Then click Submit. At the top of this page, you'll see a View Challenge button. This takes you to a student's view of the challenge with the addition of the teacher library. In the background section, you'll find background on the organization or the challenge itself. The scenario is where you'll find the challenge. You'll want to read through the scenario and become familiar with it so you can help your students navigate the scenario. At the bottom, you'll find the rubric. This is the section where you will see what students will be reviewed on. Next is the student library. The student library has all of the student resources that they will need to complete the challenge. When you click on the title, it will expand to share the resources. Now let's take a look at the teacher library. The teacher library has all of the information that you need to help your students have a successful challenge. There's a welcome, getting started with the USIP and Inspired Classroom. This gives examples for how you could use this in your classroom. Next are the resources for educators. These resources will be specific to the challenge that your students are working through. Below, you will find any information about live interactive events. Then you will find a tab for teaching problem solving in the classroom. This includes resources. This also includes a series of 9 videos on teaching problem solving. There are tools for teaching problem solving, tools for a successful interactive distance learning experience, connections to standards. Finally, there is a section for our privacy policy, terms of use, and an optional parent letter. Moving on to the challenge steps. The steps are what your students will use to walk through the challenge. The text will give specific instructions for your students. There's a section that may have a tips and tricks video on it. This one, for example, has a quick video on researching. If there is a section from the library that is pertinent to this step, it will be located here. Then this is where students submit their answers. Please note that teachers cannot submit answers. That can only be done from the student platform. If you are using this as a whole class experience, you will need to create one student account. You can always go up to the Help button to find IC Challenge FAQs.